such a long, long time. Laughing eyes and smiling face, it seems so lucky just to have the right of telling you with all my might, you're beautiful tonight. And I know that you will never stray, 'cause you've been that way from day to day for such a long, long time. And when you hold me tight, how could life be anything but beautiful? I think that I was made for you, and you were made for me. And I know that you will never change, 'cause we've been friends in the rain and shine for such a long, long time. And I must say, it means so much to me, being the one who's telling you